The Patreon pick, as requested by Mr. T on Patreon, thank you, was the 1970 film Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which is a direct sequel to the first film, The Planet of the Apes, where we follow a completely different handsome white guy through a very similar plot of discovering the apes, being captured, and then the second half of the movie is just him wandering around basically just the ruins of New York City, finding a secret society that lives under there, and then everything fucking explodes and they all die.
Fun fact, Carlton Heston has 18 minutes of screen time.
I don't know who that.
That's the main guy from the first movie.
This movie was bad.
This movie is crazy, unfathomably bad. It's baffling. Most of the decisions in this movie are just totally baffling.
Yeah. I think between the acting, this movie is just a copy-paste from the first one, which I guess on surface level doesn't sound bad, but they followed the same formula, except they managed to make it more boring somehow, and like they just kept introducing things I didn't even necessarily care about, and this movie just felt like it lacked substance. And I think I don't even know if this created a bias in my mind, but when you guys are like saying how the first movie did so well that they decided to make a second one just on the fly, it really shows in this movie, unfortunately. Acting is not great. The whole like continuity of things, like when they discover that underground civilization of humans where they're like, oh, we're so advanced we talk with our minds, and then clearly when the dude is like talking to them physically, verbally, they continue talking to him in his mind, and they're like, oh, I guess he's not advanced enough for us to talk with our minds. And like, yeah, you should have picked up on that. And then instead of doing that again for continuity purposes, talking between each other, like later on in the movie, they just decide to go back to talking after them stating it's a primitive way of communication. It's a very nitpick thing. I just think it's dumb.
Yeah, it's interesting that this movie came out, what was it, 3 years after the last one?
It was pretty short after the previous one, yeah.
Let's see.
I thought it was like 3 years after, but it feels like they slapped it together in a couple of weeks,
Yeah,
like,
2 years.
Okay, 2 years later, but it just feels slapped together. The plot is either like recycled from the first one, or it goes way too quickly, frankly. Like, I say cut out the first massive chunk of it where it's just like the new astronaut doing the same shit, and maybe don't even introduce the new astronaut and just have Carlton Heston get captured by these weird people and he has to figure that out or something. I don't know. It's pretty meh. I thought the new guy was decent at his role or whatever, but
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
that's kind of all the good I have to say about it.
What are you talking about, dude? The climax is action-packed.
No, the ending fucking sucks, dude.
The ending is probably the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, the
Okay,
girl
in
dies.
fairness, though, guys, in fairness, we did end up watching apparently a bad rip of the film. There is supposed to be like dialogue and shit like that at the end of the film, but like unfortunately just like cut out into silence.
What context did we miss?
I mean, I don't...
He gets like shot and then he's like, I'll fucking kill you all or some bullshit like that, and he just like sets off the nuke, and there's some fucking narrator who's like, and then the world ended.
Yeah, that...
So yeah, it was completely pointless.
Yeah, that changes nothing. Yeah, it's the woman. I mean, they tried to make the woman a big deal. She does nothing. She's not an integral role to this movie at all. She dies. I feel like they try to make a big deal out of it. It's whatever. Our
Dude, I
main
saw
guy...
a review of this film where the guy was talking about how, like, they really, the performances in this movie are great. The woman, she does a fantastic job despite having no lines of dialogue. She's really good in this role. She really makes me care for her. And that scene where she dies, I was almost in tears.
Imagine if she wasn't really hot.
Right?
It could be the exact same performance with no order.
Yeah, they give, like, no weight at all to her being killed. It's like, oh, wait, what? She got shot or something?
Yeah, I had to rewind.
I guess she's
I was
dying
like,
now.
yeah, I was like, did they just breeze over her death? And I guess they did. It was kind of whatever. And then it's just like, regardless of dialogue being there or not, the main guy from the first movie gets shot, and then our guy from this movie gets shot, and then a big nuke blows up, and I guess that's just the end. And I'm like, okay, and then fucking nothing. Like, I don't get why I'm supposed to care about anything that happened.
Yeah, there's very little point to all of this. It's like the first part of this movie is them just kind of fucking wandering around, repeating things that we already know about. Like, I guess the monkeys, apes, whatever, gorillas are going to war. Who cares? They're already very war-driven in the first movie. So the first part is just like a waste of time rehashing bullshit we already know. And the second half is just like some world building, but all of it amounts to nothing if they're all just gonna fucking explode and just be killed off regardless. So I don't know why the fuck we're supposed to care. The world building is just like weird too. Like, what's up with the mask thing? There's really no reason for them wearing masks at all. It's just for like some shock value. The fucking illusion effect thing, whatever, kind of okay. The effect itself looks fucking terrible, of course, but like the idea of like these like superhuman fuckers that can like put illusions into things, it's just such a waste of time.
Yeah, this movie was
Dude,
like,
You're just saying that because you haven't seen the third one yet.
Listen, dude, this movie gives off the vibes of, like, you're mad at your parents, and they're like, I told you to clean your room, so you start throwing things to the side of the room, making it look like it's clean. That's what this movie feels like compared to the first one.
Yeah.
What a confusing analogy.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, as you guys have stated already, the fucking plot is very repetitive from the first one. There's just, like, a lot of, I don't know, a lot of a lack of coherence between it. It doesn't feel very cohesive. And then these fucking psychic ass motherfuckers, they're like, don't worry, we're like pacifists. We're not gonna hurt anybody, but we will make you hurt each other. That's pretty cool, right? But they only ever use it on the fucking humans. Like, they don't even seem to attempt that on the apes whatsoever when they actually attack.
No.
It's because they're too stupid or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they had a throwaway line where they did the big fire illusion, and like I think it was Dr. Zaius or whatever, was like, oh, it's not real.
Yeah, but how does that translate to them not being able to, like, control them or whatever?
Because, like, then after they discovered it was an illusion, it flashes back to the humans, and like, oh, they're too simple-minded or whatever to fall for our illusions or something stupid like that. I don't know, it was something along those lines.
Yeah, I really don't think that follows through at all, considering that, like, you know, they seem to be taking it pretty seriously until Dr. Zaius did that.
Yeah, I honestly don't, I'm not trying to defend it here, man. I'm just trying to say what the movie depicted.
I think it's a poor explanation on their part. This shit was fucking... I think I might be lowering the first Planet of the Apes, to be honest.
Dude, come on, you can't...
Why the fuck?
You
Hold
can't
on.
do that.
What is the logical reasoning behind that? Just because one movie is really good and then it follows up with another movie that has absolutely
I didn't even think the first
one
was very good.
Well,
Nico's so
then
cringe.
don't fucking say that. Don't say like I'm gonna lower the other movie's rating because this one's bad. That's awful. That's like saying you enjoyed a meal and then had one adjacent that was terrible, and you're like, oh, maybe I don't like the original version of the meal.
That's fucking valid, though. I respect that.
Exactly.
Anyway, if the first movie's good, it's good. If the follow-up movie's bad,
the first movie wasn't good either.
Well, then
It is
say that.
good.
Don't base it off of the review of this movie.
It's just making the first one have an even worse taste in my mouth now, man.
I don't see how that logically makes sense, but...
Nico's secretly a woman. He's all emotional. He can't think rationally.
Logical fallacies. Anyway.
Okay, Reddit.
What the fuck are we ranking this?
Yeah, Dylan, what are you rating it?
Oh, damn, I don't have my thing pulled up. Give me
Okay,
a
fine,
minute.
Jackson, what are you rating it?
D minus.
Did you say B minus?
D. Why the fuck would I say B minus,
That's
retard?
that's what I was wondering. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Well, now I heard him say E.
I don't think I'm going quite that low. I'm giving it a D.
I gave it a C minus.
Holy shit. I gave it a D+.
Whoa. Look at us all in a line.
This movie
And it
was
landed at a
ass.
D plus overall.
Let's
Wow.
fucking go.
Very generous ranking, I feel.